right, guys, Red Alert 2 World Series action coming at you here in the Pro Division. Some 1v1 action, one pro versus one pro, a couple of the best players in the world. You love to see it. That's what we live here for here, boys. I traded my life for Red Alert 2 a while back. I gotta tell you, one of the best trades I've ever made. Could there be anything better than watching a couple of the best players in the world play a 20-year-old game? I don't know. If there is something better, let me know. I haven't found it yet. All right, we got Gene. Gene's kind of new to the stream, but a very strong player. Top 10 in Rambo, the Chinese client, but he's out of Jordan, actually, same as Legend. So again, we have Gene here in yellow, out of Jordan. We call him the Warhammer. Gene the Warhammer. He just got his avatar. I'm excited about it. Facing off against Legend, the God of Thunder in red, also out of Jordan, left side. Legend's been on a rampage lately. Any of you guys who missed it, he did beat Marco. He did beat Marco in the Red Alert 2, or he beat Marco in the Yuri's Revenge finals last month. Legend's just been playing really good. Took second in Blitz last month. Legend always plays good, but last month, he kind of proved he's firing on all cylinders right now for sure. Very early MCV move. As soon as that War Factor gets down, he's going to head up here, get on these juicy gems. But yeah, Gene. So Gene doesn't play much Blitz, so you guys maybe don't see him on my stream much, but again, he plays on Rambo quite a bit, the Chinese server, top 10 over there. He's been around for a long time. Even when I started streaming a couple years ago, I remember he was a name that was discussed as, it's such a small group of people. When you're, trying to stream, trying to put together games, you're always thinking like, basically, you're like, who can beat Legend? Who can beat Marco? Who can beat Quas? Who's in this group? And yeah, Gene's definitely proven himself to be in that tier. This minor going down. Yeah, so I mean, in a show match, you got to think Legend's got to be the favorite. In this, especially, they have similar styles, Soviet versus Soviet. Expect to see that all series here. But again, Gene's certainly capable of putting up points and certainly capable of throwing Legend off. Now, Legend is sick right now. He did have to cancel one of his tournament matches here today, so possible that Legends, running on half speed or something. Maybe the God of Thunder is bleeding a little bit, and Gene can get one in on him here. Very similar builds here, but you do see Gene delaying a little bit, getting that second refinery down before moving the MCV up. Yeah, the early drones, time for rhinos, something like much diverse. Yeah. Oh, it's funny, man. People, it's a discussion. It's kind of tricky because we have such an old game here, right? So if we were streaming a game that had like a solidified base of players and spectators, we wouldn't have to always have the same conversations over and over again. But the problem with this game is basically what it looks like is there's a handful of us that are always here. And then there's this this is the small circle of us, the people that are always here, the streamers, the fans, and the players who don't leave. Obviously, we're all a little broken inside, or we would be playing a newer game. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. And then you have this massive group of people who just kind of like bounce in and out. Generally, people who played 20 years ago, they see it streaming, they see a YouTube thumbnail, they click it, they come over. And the problem with that is that the people that come in always ask the same 3 questions. So then we're always answering the same 3 questions over and over and over again, which is okay. I'm always happy to tell people why dogs are built with tanks. But I suppose what I should do is I should make a YouTube video that says the 5 questions that everyone always asks about Red Alert 2. And then I could just answer those. But then again, I would still probably answer them anyway, because what else do I have to do but tell you guys what dogs do right now? There's nothing else going on. What else are we going to talk about? Of course, dogs are used with tanks as fodder. Let's go through the 5. Dogs are used with tanks because they absorb damage. The enemy tanks shoot the dogs instead of your tanks, so they act like meat shields. Yes, it was the intention of the game designers when they made it. It is in the original strategies that was released by Westwood. They apparently wanted dogs to be used with tanks. I don't know why. I agree it takes away from the game. I think it's a little bit odd and looks silly, but ask Westwood about it. What's the next question? Why do people only build rhinos? Why don't they build other units? How do we get them to build more units? And basically the answer to that question is no one's trying to do that. The players that are here are hardcore players that have been around for a long time. And the game, Red Alert 2, the game is it's rhinos and dogs, and it's what you're going to do with them. And of course, it's all about the macro, what's on the back end, your build, where you're placing your refineries, how many miners you build, how many war factories you build, the order you build, when you move the MCV. So to say that I think a lot of players, to the untrained eye, you confuse a lack of diverse units with a simple game. You think, oh, because there's only tanks, this is checkers. But I can assure you, it's still very chess-like. Of course, everyone says, oh, in this game they have more units, in that game they have more units. It's not really about the units. You learn to appreciate the little things, and then in these engagements, of course, the micro, how you steer your units, getting all of your tanks shooting at the same time, using elevation advantage, throwing your dogs in front. Each little thing going on right here is a work of art, and the player who does it better will prevail. It's not just about building rhinos and smashing heads. It is a very, very delicate art form in its truest form, and I love this positioning from Legend. Gene choosing to engage up that hill, very questionable. Both players losing fodder. You see Gene strung out, and so Gene there gets caught himself in a line there, and as that happened, Legend jumps in, splits his group in half. Very, very nice unit control here from Legend. I like the idea from Gene being aggressive in this first point, not letting Legend just kind of sit back and do whatever he wanted, but unfortunately it wasn't going to work. Now Gene trying to split off into the top side, try to get into a base trade, but doesn't even have enough tanks to take down those miners realistically. Legend going to take the base trade, no reason for that. Legend should obviously pull back here. Shouldn't be base trading when you're ahead. Gene over to drones now. So he was trying to prepare for an early base trade there, trying to get Legend to swap sides of the map and then drone him. Could have worked, but you need about 15, 20 more tanks. Need more tanks for that one. I like the idea, though, from Gene. First one on the board for Legend. Excuse me. Over to point number 2. What do we got? Sanchez. Sanchez with the sub. No way. What a day to be alive. What a day to be alive. Sanchez, where's your... Sanchez, all your different names throw me off, man. You got too many names around here. You got too many names. Wait, where's Sanders' button? Oh, there it is. I can't. Every excuse I get. Sander doesn't play anymore, so now when he subs, I have to hit his button since we never get to see it actually used. All right, guys, over to Tournament D. Tournament D. Gene, bottom right. Legend, top left again, Soviet versus Soviet. I like these tight maps, tight close quarter combat. You love to see it. Conscripts making a run here, grabbing some lighthouses. So... what are the other 3 questions? Yeah, I'm going to make a video on that. The other 3 questions. Why don't they make a remaster? Why don't they make a remaster? Why are there dogs? Why does everyone only use rhinos? Are Apocalypse tanks any good? I'm trying to think. Oh, and the other, I'm trying to think. There's a few. I should really do a video about this. And then the other one would be like, oh, do you remember Rocket Boy 97? That was my old name. I used to be number 1. Everyone has this story. Everyone claims they were number 1 at one point. Everyone's like, yeah, I used to be like the best in the world. I was number 1 one month. Everyone always says that, which cracks me up. Maybe everyone was number 1. I don't know. There was a lot of months. It's a 20-year-old game. Nice pressure here from Gene. Gets in and grabs that miner. So nice little 1-2 punch. The drone gets in. The tanks come in behind it. Love this aggression here. You see Legend pumping miners. Gene going super early pressure here. And this could be a fast one here for Gene. I love it. I'm sitting here talking stories. This tournament map D, Gene had a different idea in mind here, going very early pressure. Legend trying to build up an economy on a small map like this. Maybe didn't get a good scout. Maybe just overestimated his ability to defend with sentries. But now look at the way Gene is splitting. See these sentry guns? See the miners? He's right in this nice little zone here where he's not taking damage. Now ulting the War Factory. Legend has to go over to drones. Legend gets the barracks out. Tons of conscripts coming out of that War Factory. Not going to matter. And these low body situations, I love watching a good player go to work like this, trying to avoid the sentry zones, taking down the right targets, choosing which value to get. Legend putting up the wall. There, a single wall, try to block some shots, not gonna matter. And Gene, that's why you call him the Warhammer, boys. All right, Darwin, yo. Yeah, so over to point number 3 now. So Gene, so interesting pick there from Gene. You know, we talk about that. We talk about micro, we talk about macro, and, you know, managing your army, building your army, managing your splits, defending, all those different things combined with constantly having to be building. Hopping back home and placing a refinery in the right spot, building another war factory. And I think I like that idea from Gene. You know, in that first game, right, he just wasn't quite able to keep up on both ends. Legend just got a little bit ahead. Of course, Gene did take a questionable engagement there early on, but I love this map pick from Gene on that last point. He's like, all right, let's just not give him a second to sit back. You know, the longer the game goes, maybe he feels like Legend's gonna get a leg up. Goes a small map like that, close quarter combat, goes super aggressive. And it's important to note, you know, in Red Alert 2, you know, the map picks, the loser picking the map, the longer series, all of those things really do play into the game. You know, there's a lot of discussion about that, how long a series should be in the competitive format. You know, a lot of times players do longer series than me. They do best of 13, best of 15. And in those cases, you know, you're really looking at a different game mode. Like in a best of 15, you know, it's kind of like playing, if I, like, say I was going to play LeBron James in basketball. The higher the score that we're going to, the longer the time period, the less likely I am to win. Now, you guys might say, Ivor, you have no chance of beating LeBron James in any version of basketball ever, but that's not necessarily true, right? What if we played first shot wins, first basket wins, and I get ball first? This miner's going down. Miner going down. Where's that? Where is it? Where's the service depot? Service depot. All it needs is one hook drop. One hook drop. Oh. Doesn't get it. Sells the service depot. So Gene does lose a miner early on. That's very, very unfortunate going toe to toe. All right. Anyway, sorry. LeBron James. If we were gonna play a game, first basket wins. I could get, if I got the ball first, I could throw up a basket straight into the air, and I might beat him. I could beat LeBron James first basket wins, maybe. If we played a regular game, of course, I could never beat him. So there's something to be said there when you're considering the series, the map picks, all these little things that go on behind the scenes beyond just Rhino Wars do impact the game, how it's played, and who's going to get an advantage here. Legend with that early one Rhino harassing that power plant. Not going to get it, but I like the idea. Both players have most of their production here off the midpoints here with this oil. Now, okay, does force 2 sentry guns though, and keeps the 1 Rhino. Oh, that's so annoying. Look at that. He hops out of the zone, forces a 3rd sentry gun, and Gene being down a miner, not where he wants to be, having to deal with 3 sentry guns on the backside. But I love that. Sells them off though. Quick on the click. Good thinking there from Gene. Nice awareness to sell those off. All right, so Gene's not out of this. You see the money in the bank being behind here. So Gene has some nice moves here. When he lost that miner on the bottom side, he sold off that refinery right away because it wasn't doing anything. So he's doing everything he can to stop the bleeding from some of that early value that Legend got, but does need to be careful here. Now Gene is going to bring out some fodder. This is a tricky position. Gene's dead broke. He is choosing to bring a few dogs into this fight. I think that's the right idea. If he doesn't, he's probably going to lose. And Gene does get his miners getting some value here as well. Gene could easily win this engagement. Legend's tank's a bit out of control here as a couple retreat too early. And now Gene in the driver's seat heading downfield to try to get some value. Gene 2K in the bank. You see dogs coming from behind as well. Now pushing into these miners at the top level, going for miners anytime you can, always going to get you good value. But oh, unfortunately, not tremendous tank control here from Gene. Does get his tanks shooting in different directions, but not going to matter. He has the tank advantage and he's going to keep rolling with it here. That sentry gun, a little bit out of zone. Yeah. All right, Gene. All right, guys, over to point number 4 here. Point number 4. So Legend on the ropes here a little bit. And we've talked about this before. So in quick match, you don't know who you're playing. Well, sometimes you do. But generally speaking, like when you queue up, you match another player, you don't know who you're playing right away. It doesn't say their name until afterwards. So in quick match, you'll see a lot of times, you'll see some pretty heavy upsets. Now, there's multiple reasons for that. Of course, you know, if you're playing quick match, you're just messing around. You're not taking it that seriously. It's not like everyone in there is there for blood. But there's also a mentality of playing your fullest and not letting who the opponent is impact you significantly. Versus in show matches, things like that, it's hard to get that out of your head. You know, we've talked about that before with players like Marco and Latop and some of these top-level guys. One of the best things they have going for them is who they are. You know, how scared the other opponent is of them. And that constant feeling when you're playing a player that's better than you, you always have this feeling in the back of your head like, I can't mess up, I can't mess up, I can't mess up. And as soon as you misclick, as soon as you do one little thing wrong, you know, you find yourself thinking, oh, it's over. Like, this guy's definitely going to capitalize. He's going to exploit this. You know, if I don't play flawlessly, I cannot beat this player. And that mentality, of course, does work against you. What is going on? What are we? Oh, is this Sim City? Is this Sim City right now? I feel like I've just been bullshitting for like 30 minutes. What do we got going on, boys? I do like to see when this map starts splitting off. This is one of those maps where you build. Any of you TikTokers early on, it's a little bit boring, but at the same time, you build up a crescendo. There's kind of this climax. You know, you get this massive storm brewing, and then usually you get engagement on both sides of the map, which is always fun to see. This zone is oftentimes the hot zone, and the battle here can very often kind of decide, make or break the game. Some interesting choke points that can be hard to play. Drones on the backside from Gene, trying to slow down this backside split so that he can attack. Oh, Gene's tanks. What is this? Gene sends... Oh my god, pushing across the single cell rock path? Never the move. Never the move. Next time you have 50 tanks, if you ever find yourself thinking, hey, should I push across the single cell rock path? The answer is no. The answer is no, you should not. So Gene does just go on the run here, trying to get wacky and wild. Not a terrible idea, because as soon as Legend catches his breath, he's going to realize that he is way ahead right now. Gene does have a bunch of drones. Something crazy could happen with these drones. Oh, Gene has a ton of drones. Drones could swing things here. We haven't seen no Desolators from either player so far. Gene splits off. Gene splits off. He's going to get the MCV. Gene gets the MCV. Legend has 2 service depots and a bunch of war factories. And Gene, after an absolutely horrendous attack on this bottom side, Gene, not the worst thing I've ever seen. I think he's still going to lose this game. I think he's out-tanked about 40-1. But I love the effort and I love the idea. Had he not, whatever you guys want to call this over here, had he not done that, we might still have ourselves a game here. But it is fun to see players like that. You know, again, we talk about that. You know, players who they have to do everything perfectly. As soon as they don't, they give up or they get upset, they get frustrated, or they just get tilted, right? As soon as one thing goes wrong, another thing goes wrong, another thing goes wrong. In that case, Gene made a terrible move, but everything he did after that was actually very smart and efficient and value based, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to recover, but I still like seeing that mentality from players, and I think that's what, you know, what shows the kind of player that can really play at the top level. So, you know, well played from Gene, trying to snatch a victory from the jaws of defeat there, but yeah, Legend's not going to let that one happen. You hit a star catch, we spin the wheel. You get the star catch, you spin the wheel. There's a $5 spot on that wheel. We've already given out $5 today. This wheel could be the enemy. We might be going broke, boys. Here we go. Come on, Gator. Oh, that was close. You win nothing, which I'm happy about. Again, the first wheel spin of all time was a half hour ago, and Zap won $5. But that's how it works now. You guys get a star catch, we spin the wheel. Easy as that, boys. We're giving out money. RA to the moon. RA to the moon, $5 at a time. That's how it goes. All right, guys. So now over to point number 5. Yeah, and yeah, shout out to Gene for stepping in here, guys. So Latov and Legend were supposed to play, and it's always an issue as a streamer, as an organizer, you know, trying to put together tight games. It's tough because there's a big jump between like the top few players. You know, you got Latov, you got Marco, you got Legend, you got Quas, and then there's a pretty big jump there, and Kian as well. But you know, Kian off at college now, who knows what he's doing? Kian's looking D5 these days. Hopefully, we get the Octo Kid back sometime soon. But there's a big jump there. As far as, you know, hanging in a competitive, you know, show match style series like this. So big shout out to Gene for coming in here and putting on a show. And I'm feeling it, boys. I'm feeling it for the Warhammer. I think Gene can make this one happen. I think in both of his losses so far, pretty significant blunders. You know, he's not just, well, I forget, no, Coldest Peak, he kind of just got bested. But his last game, I think he could have won that one had he not, yeah, a bit of a blunder there on the bottom left. Light blue is come on, wheel. It's not, yeah, rigged. It's rigged against me. I've already lost 5. It's supposed to be like 8%. You're supposed to have an 8% chance of winning. But yeah, Zap hit it on the first one. Oh my God, Gene lost a miner. Gene, the drone wars are significantly working against Gene here. Now Gene has no miner on this bottom one. But hey, we've kind of seen Gene, he plays like a cornered lion, man. Once he gets his back against the wall, he plays better. He plays better off the ropes. Gene's that kind of player. When he loses the miner, he's more likely to win a game. Big Bear, 1986 with the sub, my guy, appreciate it. All again, guys, all the money that comes in does go back into the stream. You put $1 in, that dollar goes to the prize pool for next month. So it keeps the fuel in the rocket. RA to the moon, boys. Simple as that. Simple as that. RA to the moon. More people watching, playing, and streaming Red Alert 2. Very, very simple. Again, another quick reminder, if you guys do want to come play, we got a tournament every month. Division for all skill levels, redalert2.com. You can get information on that. And, another quick reminder. I had something important to actually say. The Call It contest. The Call It contest. We now have a bracket contest. It's going to close tonight. If you want to play, you got to go over to Discord right now. So the bracket for the Pro Division for Blitz for this month, you got to guess the bracket. If you guess all of the right winners, you get $50. You get $50 if you guess the perfect bracket. No one's had a perfect bracket yet. Well, we've only done it for 1 month, but we all lost last month terribly. So go over there. To play that, you do need to be a Twitch sub or be playing in the tournament. Tournament players and Twitch subs every month, the first 3 days of the month, you get a chance to play the Call It contest. Go over to Discord. Okay, here we go. And Legend off to the races now. 3 rhinos in. Gene's got drones to hold, but the problem with these drones is the damage over time. While that's happening, the rhinos gonna get something done here. The rhinos only get 1 miner. Gene forced to pull all the miners out of that position. More drones on the bottom side. Gene not building tanks. Legend on 4 war factories. Gene on 3 war factories, trying to pump drones. One way to handle, people say, how do you counter drones? What do you do with drones? One way is to just push through, just to get value through it. It's really as simple as that. MJ with the raid, Appreciate it, buddy. You guys are just in time. Gene and Legend going toe-to-toe here, banging out, put on a good show for us. So Gene trying to go massive economy, trying to defend with drones, and Legend just deciding to basically just to bullhead through. He's just going to push right through the drones and try to keep clicking down miners. This will work. It's certainly one way to do it. Gene just losing so many miners here, and the rhino's just going to keep coming, so Gene is forced to quit out. Legend puts one up. Everything's instant gratification, right? You want something, you pull out your phone, you want to watch a video, you pull it up. Unicorn hunting is different. If you just said potato 20 times and you got a unicorn, there would be no fun in that. There's no fun in that. Unicorn hunting, potato unicorn hunting, it takes tactics, it takes time. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Now, every 30 minutes, you guys can trigger another potato. I'm not going to tell you the odds of getting the unicorn because I think it's going to be a little bit disheartening. But hey, you trigger that unicorn, someone's getting 20 bucks, and you guys will all get the satisfaction. Wait, what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? You guys will all be satisfied with the fact that you will have seen the potato unicorn.
Yeah. Not exactly sure what the idea was there.
I'm not confused at all. I'm not confused. Satisfaction. Thank you, MJ. MJ, you're the only one I can trust around here. So MK1234 says, why potato? Great question. Great question. Why potato? Great question. But the unicorn potato. Now, here's the real one. The real one is nuke. If you guys trigger the nuke, so you get a cash prize as well. I forget what it is. I think it's $50 if you trigger the nuke, but you guys are never going to trigger the nuke because it takes like 100 people. 100 people have to say nuke in 30 seconds, and then the whole stream blows up and someone gets $50. But you guys aren't strong enough for that yet. Eventually, we will have enough people in here for you guys to trigger the nuke. But for now, just focus on the potato. That's more of kind of the kind of amateur stuff I think you guys are better suited for. Uno versus potato. You guys all have to give me $50. What if 100 of us say Luke? That one's not anything. Yeah. There's a handful of other triggers though. If you're on Twitch, you can like scroll down or look at the extensions. There's a bunch of different words like the hype, the hype emote. If 3 of you guys use the hype emote, it triggers a hype tank. There's a handful of other ones I kind of forget. But there's a handful of words. But yeah, I like the new word triggers, man. I had a custom bot built for that. Channel points are kind of weird. Oh, what? What? Oh, that drone was so close. How did that drone not go in? Oh my gosh. Channel points are kind of weird. Like one person triggers it, one person gets to have all that power. With the with you guys having to trigger things with words, it's a more of a democratic situation. It's not the word hype, it's the emote. The hype emote is what you're looking for. The hype emote, it's my face going like this, like that. All right, guys, this is point number 6. It is best of 7. Gene, the Warhammer. Is this MCV on a scenic tour? I feel like this MCV has been driving circles for the last 2 hours. Come on, Gene, let's go, boys. Uh-oh, the MCV's naked. The tanks are strung out. They're getting around the lake. Legend has the fodder advantage. Gene has the tank advantage. Let's go, Warhammer. Let's go, Warhammer. We're looking to burn barns, boys. We're looking to burn barns. There you go. All right, 2 of you did it. You were so close. Oh, the MCV, it did get droned? Wait, I thought the MCV didn't get droned. I swear that drone didn't go in, did it? That first drone got destroyed. It got droned again? Apparently, it's at half health. All right, let's go, Gene. Again, guys, quick reminder right after this, we are going over to a Blitz Hardcore event. It's a new game mode. Again, I don't think it's a good idea, but it is a fun idea. Got 5 semi-pro players. We got a new map, and we're going to be playing Blitz Hardcore, which is a game mode where you can only build 5 of each unit per game. 5 of each unit per game. Pretty wacky, but we got that going on right after this, so stick around. It's a Thursday. We got all sorts of fun stuff to do here. But first, Gene has to dethrone the God of Thunder. Gene's fodder gets in kind of a line of death there. I like the aggression from Gene. I like the aggression. I like the aggression. All right, so Legend with a bit of a split here. Both players now managing both sides of the map. This is where it's the do or die moment. Little misclicks as you try to keep an eye on both sets of your armies, as well as keeping up with your macro. Only the strongest can survive, boys. And again, beautiful sentry gun there from Gene. Nice defensive position. These tanks go AFK. Yeah, Legend all here right now. Of course, Gene has to really commit to defending this position. His MCV's right there, and so Gene tries to go downfield. Gene now trying to join up both of his armies in the middle here. Legend gets a few tanks out of position. Gene now into the belly of the beast. He's gonna get the higher ground here. So now all these tanks get strung out for a second, but Legend's not there to capitalize. We could do get into a base trade position. You see Legend already over to drones, Gene over to drones as well. Gene's MCV definitely going down, and it's a full base trade situation, boys. Off to the races here. Drones pumping, Legend splits off, take the MCV. He will get it. Gene also, oh, but Legend goes on the run with his MCV. Very nice. But Elite Rhino out. That MCV is going to be going down almost certainly. I don't think this one's going in Gene's favor. You see Legend now pulling back. Must feel like he's ahead here. That MCV. Oh, Legend's MCV survives. Ah, Legend, yep. Gene calls GG's. Legend takes it home.
Here, hold